My name is Michael Harris.
I'm 45 years old. 20 years of marriage means security, loyalty, a bond nothing can break. My wife choosing her ex-boyfriend's birthday party over my wedding anniversary dinner. Waiting all night only to see her return at dawn, barefoot, mascara streaked, trembling, and then hearing a confession that makes your blood run cold. That's where my story begins. Before I continue, please don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel. It helps me bring you more powerful stories like this one. I've worked as head mechanic at Midwestern Manufacturing for over a decade. It's the kind of job that stains your hands with grease but fills your chest with pride. My wife Laura works as a supervisor at First National Bank. Together, we've raised 2 kids, Ethan, 17, full of teenage arrogance, and Maya, 15, wiser than most adults I know. 20 years of marriage, we'd survived bills, mortgages, sick kids, late nights, and lost sleep.
I thought we were solid.
Turns out I was dead wrong. It started on a Tuesday in March. I'd planned a surprise anniversary weekend, dinner at a steakhouse, maybe even a getaway, if money allowed. The factory had cut overtime and cash was tight, but I still wanted to make it special. That's when Laura dropped the bomb. She stood in the kitchen in her bank uniform, eyes darting everywhere but at me. "Michael," she began, her voice heavy, "I need to tell you something about Saturday, our anniversary." My stomach tightened instantly. After 2 decades, you learn to recognize storm clouds in your spouse's tone. "David's having a birthday party," she said finally.
His sister organized it.
"Just some old college friends, David Carter."
Her ex-boyfriend.
The same man who'd blown his chance with her years ago, but still strutted around town like God's gift whenever we crossed paths. I kept my voice steady, though I felt the ground shift beneath me.
On our anniversary?
Laura nodded, guilt flickering across her face.
I know the timing's bad, but I already promised his sister.
It would be rude to back out of another man's party, on the day meant to celebrate our marriage. Her words stung more than I cared to admit.
I've been working extra shifts to save up for that dinner reservation. I thought I was giving her something special, but apparently she thought it was more important to show up at her ex's party. Can't we celebrate another night? I asked carefully. This is important, Michael, she replied.
These people were a big part of my life once, past tense, but clearly not past enough. I wanted to argue. I wanted to remind her that marriage means choosing your partner first. But 20 years of biting my tongue had taught me when to pick my battles. So I swallowed my pride and forced out a single word. Fine. The relief on her face told me everything. A wife shouldn't look that relieved after disappointing her husband. That night, lying in bed beside her, I couldn't shake the thought. Something fundamental had shifted between us. She was choosing someone else's celebration over our love, our history, our vows. Saturday dragged on like torture. Laura spent more time getting ready than I'd seen in months. She put on the green dress I'd always loved, did her hair with meticulous care,
and spent an hour on her makeup. You look beautiful, I told her at the door. She smiled faintly, but her eyes didn't match the smile. Don't wait up.
These things run late. Those were her last words before she vanished into the night. I tried to distract myself. Watched a game with Ethan, helped Maya with her history project.
Fixed a leaky faucet.
But as the hours ticked by, the gnawing in my chest grew sharper. By midnight, I was pacing the living room. By 2 a.m., I was checking my phone every 5 minutes.
No calls, no texts, nothing. Is Mom okay?
Ethan asked, catching me staring out the window. She's fine, I lied. Just catching up with old friends. But when dawn finally broke, grey and cold, I heard a car door slam. My heart leapt. Finally, she was home. Except it wasn't her car. Through the window, I saw a beat-up Ford I didn't recognize. The front door creaked open and there stood Laura, barefoot, dress wrinkled and stained, makeup smeared across her cheeks.
One of her heels dangled broken in her hand. But it wasn't her clothes that froze my blood.
It was her eyes, red, swollen, filled with pure terror. "Michael," she whispered, before collapsing into my arms. The smell hit me first. Alcohol, cigarette smoke, and something darker I couldn't place.
Her whole body trembled as sobs tore through her chest. "What happened?" I asked, gripping her shoulders. Her crying intensified.
Footsteps on the stairs. Ethan and Maya appeared, both wide-eyed. Ethan's face hardened instantly, anger replacing confusion. Maya's eyes welled with tears. "Mum," Maya whispered, her voice cracking. I looked at them both, shielding Laura with my body. "Go upstairs, now!" Ethan hesitated, jaw tight, but one look at my face and he guided his sister back up the steps. Their whispers carried down the hall before their doors shut. Laura pulled back, her hands shaking. Her voice barely carried above a whisper.
"I need to tell you something. Something happened last night. The world tilted beneath me."
In 20 years of marriage, I had never seen her this broken. "Did he hurt you?"
I demanded, dread clawing at me. She shook her head quickly. "No, not like that." Her lips trembled.
"But Michael."
"I made a terrible mistake." My chest tightened. "What mistake?"
Her next words hit like a sledgehammer. "David kissed me." The moment those words left her mouth, I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me. David kissed her. My wife of 20 years.
My partner, the mother of my children.
I stepped back, needing space, my mind racing to process the weight of it.
"You kissed him back?" I asked, my voice low, almost foreign to my own ears. "No,"
she blurted quickly.
I pushed him away.
"I told him I was married, that I loved you. But people saw. There were pictures, videos. It got complicated. Complicated." That was her word for it, as if 2 decades of loyalty could be reduced to some blurry social media post. "Then why didn't you come home?" I demanded, heat rising in my chest. She looked down at her broken heel and whispered, "His girlfriend showed up. There was a fight. People were drinking, yelling, throwing things.
I lost my phone in the chaos. I didn't know how to leave."
David said I could crash on his couch until morning. The words twisted like a knife. On our anniversary, my wife chose to sleep at another man's house after he had kissed her.
I forced myself to keep control, not to let the rage erupt in front of the kids.
"Get cleaned up," I told her coldly. "We'll talk when they aren't around." She nodded and walked upstairs, shoulders slumped, looking more like a stranger than the woman I had built a life with. Watching her disappear with that broken shoe in her hand, I realized something inside me had shattered too. By Sunday afternoon, I sent Ethan and Maya to my mother's house. Dorothy Harris had raised 4 boys on her own after losing my father, and she never shied away from hard situations. When I explained that Laura and I needed space to talk, she didn't pry. She only reminded me of something I had almost forgotten. "Marriage isn't for quitters, son," she said gently, "but it isn't for fools either." Her words stuck with me as I returned home, to find Laura at the kitchen table, dressed in jeans and a sweater, looking fragile but composed. I sat across from her, staring at the woman I thought I knew better than anyone.
"Tell me everything," I said.
"From the beginning," Laura took a shaky breath before speaking. She explained that the party was held at David's apartment, organized by his sister Carol, who had invited about 20 college friends. At first, it seemed harmless, just people catching up after years apart, but she admitted it quickly turned into something else. Around 10, David cornered her in the hallway and told her he'd been thinking about her, about what they once had. She swore she told him she was happily married, but he wouldn't let it go. "He said I looked unhappy, that he could see it in my eyes," she whispered, shame coloring every word. My fists clenched under the table as she described what came next. "Then he kissed me, Michael."
Right there where everyone could see.
I pushed him away immediately, told him he was drunk and stupid, but people had their phones out. They recorded it. The thought of my wife's humiliation plastered across social media made my jaw ache from grinding my teeth. "His girlfriend Sarah showed up?" Laura continued, her voice smaller now.
Someone must have sent her a video.
She stormed in screaming, throwing things, calling me names I won't repeat. Everything turned into chaos.
I didn't know what to do. She admitted her phone was smashed during the fight and, humiliated, she couldn't face calling me for help.
I thought staying at Carol's place for the night was the safest thing. The roads were bad anyway with all the rain. I stared at her in disbelief. Safe? She had abandoned me on our anniversary and slept at her ex-boyfriend's house after he kissed her. My phone buzzed on the table, snapping me out of my thoughts. It was a text from an unknown number. Check Facebook. Your wife's famous now. Against her pleading, I opened the app and instantly found it. A photo of Laura in that green dress, David's lips pressed against hers. The caption read, "Some people never learn. Happy birthday, David." The comments were worse. Strangers laughing about cheating wives, clueless husbands. My stomach turned as I scrolled. Laura grabbed my hand. "Michael, please."
I didn't kiss him back. I swear. And she was right. When I replayed the video, I saw her shove him away.
But the damage was done. Our private pain was now public entertainment. That's when she hesitated, her eyes dropping to the floor.
"There's something else you need to know," she whispered. I leaned forward, bracing for another blow. Laura finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper.
"There's someone else you need to know about. His name is Victor Barnes. He works at the bank with me." My pulse quickened. "And?" I asked, already sensing the weight of what she was holding back. She wrapped her arms around herself, trembling. "He's obsessed with me, Michael. He leaves notes on my desk, shows up at places he knows I'll be."
I tried reporting it to HR, but he's the nephew of one of the board members. The rage simmering inside me flared into something sharper. "How long has this been going on?"
6, maybe 7 months, she admitted. At first I thought it was harmless flirting, but it escalated. He comments on my clothes, what I eat for lunch, even things I never told him.
"He knows where I go. You didn't think to tell your husband?"
My tone came out harsher than I intended, but I couldn't stop myself. She flinched, tears in her eyes.
"I thought I could handle it alone. I didn't want to worry you. And honestly, I was scared of what you might do." She was right to be scared. If Victor had been in front of me at that moment, I don't know what I might have done. Was he at the party? I asked. She hesitated, then nodded. "He wasn't invited, just showed up around 11. Said he was in the neighborhood. He was taking pictures and videos of everyone. It was creepy." The pieces began to fall into place. The anonymous message, the Facebook post. Someone had been watching, waiting to twist the knife. "You think he sent me that text?" "I don't know," she said, her voice trembling. "But Michael, he's unstable."
"He's former military, served 2 tours overseas. I think he has problems." Problems? That word didn't come close. My wife had attracted the attention of a man who was unstable, obsessed, and trained for war.
Every instinct in me screamed to confront him right away. I stood up from the table, fists tight.
"Where does he live?" Laura grabbed my arm, panic in her eyes.
"Michael, no, please. He's dangerous. I'm not going to hurt him," I said through clenched teeth.
"I'm going to make it clear that his obsession ends now." She blocked my path, her face pale.
"I'm begging you."
"Don't do anything reckless." Think about Ethan and Maya. I was thinking about them. About what kind of father lets a man stalk his wife and terrorize his family. But seeing her so terrified of what I might do forced me to pause. "Fine," I said, after a long silence. "We'll try it your way first. But if Victor comes near you again, all bets are off." The next morning, I called my oldest friend, Franklin Jones, a police officer I trusted more than any official channels. We grew up together, played football in high school, and I knew he would give me the truth. I explained everything. Victor Barnes, the harassment, the creepy photos, the Facebook post. His tone shifted immediately. "Bring me what you've got, Mike. I'll see what I can do, off the record." An hour later, we sat in Franklin's unmarked car outside the bank. Victor arrived in his beat-up Honda, glancing around like a man with secrets. Franklin studied him through binoculars. "Doesn't look like much, but the dangerous ones rarely do." He stepped out to confront him while I stayed behind, every muscle in my body screaming to join. From the distance, I watched Victor's shoulders tense, his eyes darting nervously as Franklin spoke. 5 minutes later, Franklin returned, his face grim. "That man isn't right," he said. "He kept ranting about protecting Laura from you, claiming she deserves better."
He's convinced you're the enemy. My grip tightened on the steering wheel.
"What did you tell him?" Franklin sighed. "Told him if he contacts your family again, I'll personally book him for harassment. But Mike, I don't think words will be enough." He's got that look, like he's still fighting battles nobody else can see. That afternoon, I made a choice that probably saved Laura's job and gave us breathing room. I went straight to the bank's regional manager and arranged for her transfer to a different branch across town. When Laura stepped out of work, I told her she was starting at Westside on Monday. She protested at first, said I couldn't make career choices for her, but when I explained it was about safety, not control, she finally agreed. For a brief moment,
I thought we might have gained the upper hand.
but 3 days later, reality came crashing down. I was at the shop, working under the hood of a Chevy, when my phone rang. Laura's name lit the screen, but when I answered, I only heard her trembling voice.
Michael.
"He's here." My blood ran cold. "Where?" "At our house."
I just pulled into the driveway.
"He's sitting on the porch, staring at the door." "Lock everything," I ordered. "Close the blinds. Stay away from the windows."
I'm 5 minutes out. By the time I reached our street, flashing lights and an ambulance already filled the driveway.
Franklin stood in the yard, speaking into his radio, his expression like stone. My chest tightened.
Is she okay? I demanded. She's safe, he said.
"But we've got a problem." On the porch sat Victor Barnes, handcuffed, blood streaking his forehead, his eyes wild and unhinged. He'd been pounding the door with a rock, screaming that Laura belonged to him, that I didn't deserve her. It took 3 officers to restrain him. As they loaded him into the ambulance, he locked eyes with me through the window. And even with blood on his face and steel around his wrists, he smiled, a cold, unsettling smile that told me one thing: this nightmare was far from over.